So Democrats have responded to Donald Trump trying to put the final knife in the back of Obamacare. This is in Vox. They say House Democrats are rolling out a plan to strengthen the Affordable Care Act that would expand federal insurance subsidies and reverse the Trump administration's attacks on the healthcare law, but avoids the party's internal fight about more ambitious proposals to extend health coverage. Democrats released the bill the day after the Trump administration said it wanted the entire healthcare law thrown out by the courts, underscoring the striking divide between the two parties on an issue at the top of voters' minds. The new legislation sticks to policies that should win immediate support from the entire Democratic caucus. House Democrats are taking a slower approach on Medicare buy-ins and single-payer Medicare for all, soliciting information from the Congressional Budget Office and planning to hold hearings later this year. But these proposals, largely carried over from an earlier bill by Representative Frank Pallone, Richard Neal, and Bobby Scott, were the ones they had ready to go. So here's what's in the bill. It expands tax credits available under Obamacare, both reducing costs for lower-income families and expanding eligibility so middle-class families can receive federal assistance. It creates a national reinsurance program to offset high medical bills for insurers and thereby keep premium increases in check. And it rolls back Trump's actions expanding skimpier health insurance plans, the catastrophic plans, giving states the freedom to undermine the law's benefits requirements and cutting enrollment outreach funding. So, in other words, this is just an attempt where Trump is undermining Obamacare, stabbing it in the back, shivving it in the side in 1,000 ways, and Democrats are like, no, we will go around you and we will shore it up. Now, there are a variety of ways in which Donald Trump has gone after Obamacare. The first thing he's done is a plethora of executive orders that have undermined it, and that has had an impact. Like, one of the things he's done is basically axed all the funding that was supposed to go towards getting the word out about Obamacare. So now people don't know when the enrollment period is, and they got to find it out on their own. And so that's one of the things he did. But he's done multiple executive orders, basically hurting Obamacare. Now, beyond that, the federal government was involved in a lawsuit, Republican states were involved in a lawsuit where they were trying to axe the entire law. And that wasn't working for a long time, but then recently they went to this hack right-wing judge who said, yes, I agree with that. Now, the position of the Trump administration had been, yeah, we're against the law, we're against, we want to get rid of the individual mandate, we want to get rid of most of the law, but there are certain parts of it that are constitutional. That was their position. Now, they just this week, they came out and said, did we say we think some parts of the law are constitutional? No. We agree with what the judge just found. The entire law is unconstitutional. So already to this point, 7 million people have lost health insurance under Trump's administration. If this stands, and a bunch of Democrats have jumped in to go on the opposite side and say, no, the law is constitutional, and so it's still being battled out in court. But if this stands, 19.9 million people will lose health insurance. And Trump's bragging about it, by the way, is, the Republicans will soon be known as the party of healthcare. Now, in step the Democrats and the focus of this story. Their reaction to this is, so again, Republicans, here's the Republican position. Fuck you, fuck your mother, fuck Obamacare, fuck every part of Obamacare, even though they're going to gaslight people and say, we believe in protections for pre-existing conditions, as they actively fight to get rid of the law that protects pre-existing conditions. So they're lying. The Republican position is, fuck you, let's go back to the wild, wild west and let for-profit health insurance companies run wild, and let's have like 30 or 40 million people uninsured in this country and everybody else getting shitty health care and paying way too much. That's the Republican position. The Democratic position is, let's go back to the status quo where we cover a few more people and like barely keep premiums in check and like meet the Republicans halfway. What are you doing? You already caved. Again, the original healthcare debate. Did the Democrats push for the actual left-wing position, which is nationalization of healthcare, which is the UK system, the NHS? where it's public funding of public institutions and our entire healthcare system is public. Did they push for that? No. Did they push for the French single-payer system where you have public funding of private institutions? No. Did they push for a public option where you still have the private health insurance companies intact, but people can opt into a government system? No. They did the right-wing position. The right-wing position of individual mandate system. It was the Heritage Foundation that came up with it. Mitt Romney did it in Massachusetts. Bob Dole supported it in the 1990s when he ran for president. Newt Gingrich and Chuck Grassley supported it. They caved all the way to the Republican position, and they got 0 Republican votes when they proposed their idea. And then fast forward to today, they keep doing everything to stab Obamacare in the back. They make clear they will never stop fucking fighting it. And the Democratic position is, all right, we'll meet you halfway, and we'll just try to shore up Obamacare. You're embarrassing, man. You're embarrassing. You're so embarrassing. You're so fucking embarrassing. You're so goddamn embarrassing. Now, Bernie comes out and says, they ask him, hey, Bernie, are you going to support this bill to shore up Obamacare? And what does Bernie say? No, I'm not going to support that. Why? He's not going to support it because, you know what's going to happen? It's going to get to Donald Trump's desk anyway, and he's going to veto it. He's not going to let that stand. He's basing half of his fucking political ideology is based on, I hate Obama and I hate everything he did, and I'm going to undermine Obamacare. So you put a bill on his desk that shores up Obamacare, and you think he's going to sign it? It's a waste of time and a waste of energy. So you gave away the farm up front. You started the negotiation yet again by giving in. That's what you just did. That's what the Democrats just did. Oh, why? Our starting position will be, let's shore up Obamacare. Why would you do that? So the bill's not going to go anywhere either way, and your position is a bold half measure that still keeps millions of people uninsured, and then all the attention now is on Bernie for why aren't you supporting it? Do you have fucking concrete in your heads, you idiots? It's not going to get signed, and it's a half measure anyway. Why would he support it? And what they also don't get is, do you think if push came to shove, he actually wouldn't support it? He would! He would! But you don't give in immediately. What's wrong with you? The Democrats go into a car dealership. A car costs $20,000. They talk to the salesman and they go, I'll give you $21,000 for it. And the salesman is like, the price is $28,000. And the Democrats are like, deal. That's the Democrats. And then we finally have a politician in Bernie Sanders who's willing to walk in and go, oh, the price tag's $20,000. I'd like to pay $10,000. This is how you're supposed to negotiate, and then maybe you meet in the middle 15. And maybe when all's said and done, we get a public option. At least when we have a Democratic administration. Right now, I admit, Trump is not going to sign anything. Okay? Nothing that's positive on healthcare will Trump sign. But basically, the Democrats are waving the white flag again and saying, yeah, the best we're ever going to do is a milquetoast, middle-of-the-road piece of shit policy that still leaves millions of people uninsured. And it's beyond embarrassing, man. And by the way, this is why Justice Democrats was created. The whole point is supposed to be that you don't give up, you don't concede, you stand on principle, and you fight for the people. And, you know, it doesn't matter. With the current makeup of the Democrats, if you have a supermajority, it doesn't matter. They're not going to do the right thing anyway. So you need to get real lefties in there. And this is just shameful and embarrassing. And again, like I said, now all the energy is pointed at Bernie Sanders. They're like, why won't you support it? And then, of course, because he's running for president, and he's like, here we go again with smears. He's like, okay, I signed on to it, and I'm proposing to shore up Obamacare. These guys shoot themselves in the foot, and as they do it, they think they're like geniuses. That's all of Democratic-leaning media, the entire Democratic establishment. They take a gun, shoot themselves in the foot, and think they're a genius for doing it. Berating Bernie Sanders because he's daring to say, hey, this bill's not going to pass anyway, so why don't we do the right thing and push for Medicare for all where everybody's covered and be clear with the American people where we stand, that we're with them because 70% of them want that. and that's also just happens to be the correct answer, and pass it, and then make the Republicans go on record against it, and then use that in an election. Nope. Go with the unpopular, shitty, neoliberal, technocratic half measure that's already not polling well, that doesn't cover everybody, is a bullshit approach. Do that instead. Concede up front, and now we're going to berate you, Bernie, for not conceding up front, and we're going to make you concede because we're all so dumb we don't understand how to negotiate. The Democrats need new leadership. It's not even close. When I tell you, you'd become a rich person if you bet every single time the Democrats were strategizing. If you bet, I bet they're going to do the wrong thing. You'd be rich. Because every time, reliably, they do the wrong thing. And then they berate the people who are right. It really is incredible.